I think at the end of the day, you've got to acknowledge the risk that we're dealing with as players, as administrators, as a game, and then understand, are we doing all we can possibly do to make it as safe as we possibly can, acknowledging that there's the professional game, the community game. And I actually think I'm really proud of our game. I think our game has done a wonderful job of investing into safety and welfare initiatives back from sort of late 2000s, 2010, 2011, you know why? Because we're honest about the problem. We're honest about the need to focus in on it. And I'm a clinician by training, so I look at the work we've done from that very point where we did all this analysis, looking at what were the events on the field that were leading to the risk, and it was head on head space. So we did that through data. We looked at it, and then we said, okay, well, what are we going to? Now we know that. What are we doing about removing head on head? So what are we changing around law, sanctions, coaching to try and change or shift the emphasis on that? And then we've looked at protocols to assess on.
Can it go too far though on that one?
No. I think the more and more we do, the better. I mean, acknowledging that we're going to still be a combative sport.
But I think that's the concern we've got, right, is if you look at like the NRL, for example, we talk about it a lot because it's weird. If I had an option to watch an NRL like State of Origin or something else like that over a union game, I'd probably choose NRL at the moment because I feel like they're kind of proud of what they do. They own it and they don't try and hide away from it. And I think obviously we've had some teething problems with adjusting with tackle height, etc. But I think, and this would be the top level game, not necessarily grassroots. But look at the UFC, for example. They market it and sell for what it is. It's a violent combat sport. And you need to make sure you mitigate as many risks, but you can't hide away from why people watch it and what people want to. And I feel at the moment rugby is trying to pretend that it's all things to all men and women, and it isn't what it is. And we're sort of, the product on the field, I think, is great. For me, it's the way it's marketed, the way it's sold, how it's commercially run. Yeah. I think how archaic it is to get things done. I think, also the way we talk about it as well. I just think there's opportunities to go, look, here's a separation, grassroots, this is important, we can manage this, but actually the top level game is an entertainment business these days. Yeah. And it needs to be done like that. And I just don't know how you feel whether it's marketed in the right way, because we feel it's sort of a bit apologetic and tries to be, you're trying to make something safe that's just never going to be that safe.
It's a really crass example, but if you look at the way the haka has been treated for the last 15 years, having them at either ends of the field is just ridiculous. It has removed one of the great elements of theatre of international rugby. And this weekend, England stepped forward, and they're following, obviously, what we saw in the England Rugby League Samoa match. Yeah. It's suddenly, everybody, its hairs on the back of the neck.
The change in the stadium...
Extraordinary.
At that moment was extraordinary.
And it's one tiny example, but I suppose I'm throwing out James's challenge here, which is that we have stepped back as a sport from so many of the elements, which is
I disagree, guys. I actually think that we are owning the issue and doing our best to make sure we can make this as safe as we possibly can, acknowledging that there's risk. And why I say that is rugby league are following us. So that the Wallabies physician, Sharon Flahive, who sits on the International Players Association for Rugby, has been hired to be the CMO of the Rugby League. She has picked up all of rugby's protocols and dumped them on Rugby League because they're scrambling because they know they haven't dealt with this stuff. So I'd actually say, with the greatest respect to Rugby League, they're a fast follower, or some would say a late follower, on the work that we've been doing for 15 years. Yeah. And you throw into that, I mean, these mouthguards that can measure G-forces real time, that allow you to say, okay, we're just going to hook you and assess you, are just a wonderful thing to be delivering in our sport. Because we know from the work we've done that these G-forces, this is a high-risk moment. We know that it's a high likelihood there's been a significant brain impact. So that information is really valuable to the clinician. It's like anything. It's a diagnostic tool. Like, I'll come and examine you, but I might send you off for a CT scan, or I might take a blood test. Those things help people make the right decision. Because what we'd hate to think is that we had information that we knew someone could have had a high-risk moment, but we missed it, and there is consequences because of it. So it's not seen to be one or the other. It's both of those things, like you do in medicine, to help make the right decision.
Now for a message brought to you by American Express. We all know how tricky it can be to find the right work-life balance.
Amex understands that it's essential to work hard and play hard, so we wanted to share a bit about the American Express business cards. With an Amex business card, you can earn points on your business transactions and then use those points to switch off and enjoy some downtime.
For instance, you can earn points on everyday office purchases like new furniture, a new laptop, or even your team days out. And then use those points to help you unwind and recharge.
Whether it is a brand new set of DJ decks for Haskell or some shiny new golf clubs for Tins, or even booking that once-in-a-lifetime trip to watch the Lions on tour in Australia, the American Express business cards help you achieve that perfect balance in life. For more information, search Amex Business Card. Terms and annual fees apply. 18s plus, subject to status.
Sorry. Okay. So what I meant was So my question was, I think for me, all the actual medical care and the shining light stuff is very important. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
And I think we're doing that exceptionally well.
Yeah, I think we do that. That's not the question.
What
I meant was, because we've had this issue, because there's a lawsuit, because we've had a re-education process, we have shied away, I feel, from what sells this game and what is important. So it's spoken as a collision avoidance sport. It's talked about these things like it's not.
It's a collision sport.
It's a collision sport, but I mean, but as a marketing point, I think what I meant by the NRL is not necessarily the medical side of it. Yeah. It's what they show. It's the razzmatazz. It's the big moments. Whereas
not the bring back the biff.
They're not
that sort of
mentality. Whereas because at the moment, especially over here, we're trying to be all things to all men and women, and we're apologetic about our sport because we've got potential issues. Instead of going, do you know what? This game's going to be violent. It's going to be difficult. People are going to get hurt, but look how well we're taking care of them. That for me would be the way to go. I just think it's unfortunate at the top level of the game in particular. I'm not talking about grassroots. It just seems that we've stepped away from the way it should be, and it's sort of a bit the language and a bit of fear around it, as opposed to going, what do people look up for on the weekend? Why are people watching, Scotland, Fiji? Because everyone's getting bashed, and it's a great game. You know what I mean?
And it makes a big separation between your fan who knows he can't cross those white lines because he just can't do what's going on that field. And I feel sometimes we water it down.
Yeah, and I guess it's a great point. And for all of us that have got community clubs and are participating in it, you want the mums and dads to feel that coming along and playing on a Saturday is safe for the kids.
That's why I think that's why you've got to separate. What I think we genuinely believe that there should be a separation between the grassroots and the top level of the game. The top level of the game should be seen as an entertainment business and almost I'd make it summer sport. So you've got all the chance to have a bit of a spectacle. Everyone plays in the summer. Grassroots stays where it is. So over here, when everyone plays in the winter, grassroots. In the summer, you've suddenly got more people in the stadiums, more people to watch. It was Tins' idea. So things like that, trying to create that universal calendar.
Well, I guess with the other, there's been a big step in terms of the separation of the tackle height law around the community game. So I don't know if you know this, but around the world, we've lowered it below the sternum. We've had in February
a huge impact up there.
February next year, we'll have over 1,000 matches coded, 250,000 tackles that have shown that at this early stage that we've seen a decrease in concussion in the community game. So your point's right. So we've got laws now that are relevant to HIA protocols. We've got tackle height sanction. We're not below the sternum yet. There'll be arguments to say that it should, but there'll be arguments to say, well, we've got enough protections in place. But you're right, the game is becoming the professional game and the community game whilst close. And the thing that we never want to lose sight of is that this game of ours got great people and great values in it. Yeah. So you want to stay connected at that level, don't you? But you need to separate on specific issues like that one.